So here's our blockchain program. It's not really a complete blockchain yet, but we got our list here. We're also outputting our list down there with a print statement. Let's see how a for loop works by simply using a for loop here for outputting the individual blocks of our blockchain rather than the complete blockchain in one line. A for loop is created with the for keyword, and then we use any name of our choice for the individual element in that list we're going to loop through. So here I'm going to name it block because we have a chain of blocks, but you can name this whatever you want. Now important, the next keyword you have to use is in, and then the list through which you want to loop. In my case, it's this blockchain list here, so of course I have to use that variable name which holds that list. So I will use blockchain here. Then you add a colon, and now, just as with functions, you use indentation to mark which lines of code belong to that loop. Because of course you can't loop through more code than just one line. So here, I will print a statement where I say outputting block, and then a second statement just to show that we can output multiple, or that we can execute multiple lines of code. And in that second statement, I'll actually log the block. And if we want to write code which does not belong to the loop thereafter, we simply remove the indentation. Now this print statement here would not belong to the looping body. With this, if I save this and I execute my blockchain.python file here, I'm again prompted to enter my transactions, and I will go with 10, 11, and 12. And as you can see now, if I increase this a bit, we're now saying outputting block 3 times, and remember that's the code we're basically setting up here in our loop, and 3 times because our blockchain has 3 elements, and thereafter we're outputting the individual block. So for the first element, it's this block, because for the very first element, we enter a last block of 1, but this never is a standalone block, so it's part of the first block. Because in the first block, we also immediately start adding our first transaction amount. We're not initializing the list with just this array of 1. So this is our first block. That is the second block. It contains the first block, of course, because we do add the old block in the next block here. We're getting the last block with this getLastBlockchainValue function. And the third block contains the last block, this one here, as its first block, simply due to our logic. And this is how a for loop works in the end. Now let's also write a while loop next.